Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way. Today, I'm delighted to be once again joined by Anthony Joseph from Sky Sports. Anthony, the last time we spoke, we were talking about the quite exciting signing of Neşteri İrangünder from Bayern Munich, and I think we can all agree, as Watford fans, the transfer window was very much a success in most people's eyes. Unfortunately, it seems to have gone quite sour very quickly. And from the outside looking in, it seemed quite rosy if you were an opposition fan. Watford were 3 games unbeaten, 7 points from 9, and one win away from the playoff places. But it was clear to us as Watford fans very quickly that all wasn't right behind the scenes. Firstly, welcome back. How are you? And can you give us some context as to how Watford come to this decision?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on again. And yes, it seems a long time ago since we were talking about this story in Kunda arriving. I've had a good break after the transfer window and sort of actually only came back the other week. So had a
Wow.
nice break, refreshed into it, and then bang, we're straight into big breaking news stories like this one. So yeah, Watford's they've sort of come to this decision mainly because they believe that Paulo Pezzolano has lost the dressing room. Our understanding is that he has fallen out with a number of the players in the squad. So when it reaches that point, your position becomes almost untenable. And I think we sort of saw that. Watford put out a video after they beat Oxford last or the weekend, and Pesolano wasn't talking about like how well they've done or how amazing we are as a group together. He was talking about I'm not here to be your friend. Those kind of words were quite telling now that we know what we know, and so I think it was clear there, and is even clearer now that a number of people in the squad do not get on with them, and we're finding it a struggle to do so. The feedback, certainly from the players towards the board, was that they were struggling to understand his instructions, his formation, his tactics. They didn't know why they were and weren't in the squad at certain times. So there was a lot of feeling amongst that. In terms of what the board felt, they were baffled by some of the decisions he was making, most notably starting Kwadwo Ba only twice in the league this season, and also the on loan centre back Formos Mendy, who is a centre back, but his only starting appearance was at right wing back. So things like that have baffled the board as well. And I guess hearing the chance of you're getting sacked in the morning uh, was only going to head one direction unless results or culture as it is improved. And that is the case, isn't it? Because the results did sort of improve. They won, they drew, they won again. And but the way he was with the players, the way the players were not understanding what he was trying to do, it felt like it was becoming more of an issue with him rather than the players.
Interesting. Thank you for that insight. And we know Javi Gracia was the number one target to replace Pezzolano, but I'm sure Watford fans would also love to know if you're aware that any other head coaches were considered. We know there's a few high profile ones available at the moment in Michael Carrick and Danny Roll. I know a lot of Watford fans were invested in the idea of us bringing Danny Roll to the club. So whilst Javi was our number one target, are you aware that Watford maybe spoke to other candidates as well?
No, not aware of that. It's as far as I'm aware, they wanted to get Javier Grazia and they signed him out before they'd even uh, managed to completely decide whether they were going to go ahead and sack Paulo Pezzolano. They tried to get Javier Grazia in the summer before they brought in
Wow.
Pezzolano. So they did. So while they did do their research on Pezzolano, they'd spoken to the City Group. They'd got advice from other external and independent people within football. They'd done plenty of research. He was billed as a promotion specialist, Pesolano. So they had done their research to bring him in. But their number one choice in the summer was actually Javi Gracia. But he'd just undergone surgery and was not in position to take on any kind of job, let alone a high-profile football job. So that was the reason why they moved on to another target who was well researched and was Pezzolano. So as far as I'm aware, this has been driven by Scott Duxbury, the CEO and chairman, and he wanted to bring in Grazia to replace him. I feel there's a bit of an acceptance among the board that they made a mistake in 2019 by sacking him. They maybe did it too early. They did it in September 2019 after what was a wave of success, I think. His first spell was successful in terms of steering the club to safety in his first season, then finishing 11th in the Premier League, which is incredible for Watford. Their highest position since 1987, I think it was.
Yes.
So, and then took them to the FA Cup final, which I'm sure you can tell me, being the Watford fan, how that must have felt, that run to the FA Cup final. So there's a lot of the fans still think of Javi Grazia fondly. I believe they've got a good chant for him as well. So that'll be back, I'm sure, as well. So I think there's a lot of good feeling about bringing Grazia back, and I think there's an acceptance that they made a mistake in September 2019, and I think that's evident given the fact they've had 12 managers since. So, yeah, I think that he was the only candidate as far as I'm aware, and as soon as they realised he was keen to come and fit to come as well after his surgery, he is going to be joining and has signed a 2-year deal.
I found the Watford club statement very telling as well. I don't know if you've had a chance to read this, Anthony, but they say in appointing Javi, the club are confident that he will bring the qualities we believe are vital for this young squad: consistency in team selection, harmony within the dressing room. That's very interesting, and a strong connection with our supporters. So maybe a subtle dig at Paulo Pezzolano there in the official club statement.
Yeah, I think it was quite because he'd fallen out with so many players. I think it had become so apparent that this is not a issue with just one or two footballers being sort of egotistical in any way. This is the problem is the manager. So I think they felt they had to make a change in that respect. And Javi Grazia comes in already a fan's favourite, and they believe that he will do better with this squad. I mean, they haven't done. It's not been the worst of starts. I mean, they've drawn 1-3, drawn 3, lost 3. So it's not the worst of starts. They're sitting 11th in the Championship. So I think they feel with this squad, and as I said when we spoke last time, Gino Pozzo has lofty ambitions of getting promoted to the Premier League. He set the bar high, and the way they went into the transfer market and the way they tackled the transfer market and attacked it was very impressive. I don't think any Watford fan would say that they had a bad window. They had a very good window, and because he's been so heavily backed, they've got a squad there, a nucleus of a squad there that is very good at this level for the Championship. And I think the feeling among the board is that they should be doing a lot better, and a better manager in their eyes can get the best out of these players.
Is there a concern potentially that whilst Javi is of course a club legend, he has given me the best memories in my lifetime being a young Watford fan. He's my version of Graham Taylor, if you will. Is there a concern among the hierarchy that it could be a massive risk in that if it doesn't go well and they don't maybe reach the ambitions that they outlined in the summer, that he could almost tarnish his Watford legacy?
Well, I think that's more of an issue for Javi Grazia than Watford's. Watford's just want the best man they believe for the job. For someone coming back, it's their reputation to tarnish, isn't it? It's always said, it's said about that, isn't it? And you see it so many times with footballers, should they go back after becoming a legend or doing so well. And I think it is a myth that it never works out the second time. I mean, my club, Celtic, you're seeing it with Brendan Rodgers. He brought success straight away and did so well in the Champions League last year. I know things aren't going great this year, but it's a bit different. So, and look at Rangers trying to bring Steven Gerrard back. You've got so many other clubs in football that have brought managers back and it's worked out. And so many times players have come back to clubs and it's worked out. But usually they are with players. The reason why they term the phrase that, oh, you should never go back, is because the players are a bit older. They're usually at the end of their career where they go back to their boyhood club or the club where it all started out, and they're not able to give their best years. But I think it's a bit of a myth that things don't work out a second time. I feel and when you're talking about reputation, it's only that's down to him. So I think for Watford, of course, they would want him back. But if he feels it would tarnish his reputation, then he wouldn't come back, I don't think. But I think he's just ready for the challenge.
And famously as well with Watford, Graham Taylor come back for his second spell, and he certainly did well in that. So hopefully Javi can have the same effect. Anthony, a real pleasure to have you back on again today. Keep up the good work over at Sky. You were the first to break the story, so we really appreciate your coverage once again. Where can people find you across social media?
Thank you for your kind words there. On social media and Twitter, or X as it's called, I'm Anthony R. Joseph, and on Instagram it's Anthony R. Joseph 91.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And I'm sure we'll speak again come January when Watford enter the transfer market.
Thank you very much.